Okay, guys, J77 here. It's going to talk briefly about Oblivion, a film that I decided to see first before any other movie because, frankly, this is one of the rare times that Morgan Freeman and Tom Cruise was starring in the film together. I don't remember any other films they was in that had this much notoriety. This film had mixed reviews from both critics and both moviegoers. The film is also deemed the first real Tom Cruise success, or the one that was considered a mega blockbuster by him, which I kind of find it hard to believe considering the Mission Impossibles and as well as the Jack Reacher that which came out a few months prior to this one. But nevertheless, this was considered to be a monster hit, something that I am pretty sure Tom Cruise likes to hear. As for me, I didn't really much care for those numbers or for the fact that what people have been saying. I wanted to see it for myself. This is actually the first film in a long time I actually saw in theaters that had Tom Cruise's name on it. I think the last time I saw a Tom Cruise movie that was in theaters was Born on the 4th of July, and that was a long time ago. I'm not that big of a Tom Cruise fan when it comes to his films. Not to say they were bad, but it's not something I make my business to run into the theaters and see. I normally wait till they go on DVD and watch it from there. Not that's pretty much it. It's just something about his name doesn't equal to me rushing to see his films. I'm not that big of a fan of his in terms of seeing his films right away. But nevertheless, he is a good actor. And this film, I will say, he did good in. I think that his acting was fine in this movie. Him and Morgan Freeman, when Morgan Freeman became a main factor of this movie. And that was the main thing I had a problem with. Morgan Freeman didn't come into this film until almost an hour. You basically had him, as giving a little brief cliff notes of the film. Tom Cruise plays this guy, Jack. He's pretty much like a cleanup guy from a now pretty much devastated Earth. And what has happened was an alien race known as the Scavengers basically invaded Earth, destroyed the moon, which caused a lot of problems, and it was at a very big war where the people of Earth had no choice but to use their nukes. In the very beginning, they said they won, but because of what has happened to Earth, it was forced to leave, living pretty much in space in these cubicle-like areas. And Tom Cruise, along with his assistant, who helps guide him along during the ravaged Earth environment, pretty much is cleaning up the mess that was left behind, as well as preparing some of the drones that were shot down by some of the resisting scavengers that was still on the surface. This is where pretty much the main premises have. You're seeing him for the first hour doing his job, preparing these drones, which are pretty much killing machines on his own. If they don't recognize you, you're a threat, they're going to kill you. And that was pretty much proven when Tom Cruise discovered a dog was basically barking, and he was trying to get the dog to move because once that drone home in on it, it doesn't recognize it's not a threat. It considered to be a danger, and he's going to take him out. And that was the main gist of these drones. And these drones played a very strong part of this movie. But throughout the whole hour, you're just basically following Tom Cruise and his character, and you get to know a lot about this character very quickly. The suppressed memories that he keeps having in his dreams, to the situation with the scavengers and why instead of wanting to kill him, which they made it very clear they wanted to kill him early on, they just want to capture him. And then you realize there's more to meets the eye than what's going on. In fact, there is more to meets the eye. As the film continues to progress, you realize that things are not always seen. The character Jack is pretty much blind to the true situation, and only when he opened his eyes to what's really going on did the film really start to take shape. And it came at a perfect time, because I'm going to be honest with you, and this is some of the problems I had early on in this movie, where I was juggling whether or not to give it the star rating that it has, because I was juggling between 3 and 2.5. The film from the very beginning is very predictable. The film is, it makes no bones what bits and pieces that this film is taking their resource from. When I saw this film early on, at least from the first hour and 10 minutes, I saw Total Recall. I saw a little bit of Eli, the Book of Eli, in there. I saw pretty much the Running Man almost. I saw a lot of the stuff that I recognize from other films, and I'm like, wow, this film is not really being original with their stuff. And throughout the first hour, even though Tom Cruise kept the film, kept it going, kept it moving with this character, because he is a pretty interesting character, the overall story really didn't really entice me. I really wasn't really engaged on what was going on. It wasn't until when Morgan Freeman came along, keep in mind, after the hour mark, that things really started to take shape, and that's when things started to make better sense. Because when you see this film, you're saying to yourself a lot of questions. You're asking yourself a lot of questions straight up the bat. And one of the things you pretty much caught right away is that Earth was ravaged by nuclear radiation because of the war. Yet you see this character Jack. He's not wearing a radiation suit. He's not. He's finding all kinds of life in the area. He's actually have his own sanctuary where there's like pretty much look like everything's fine over there. The water, and you kind of question how much damage did this world actually took. If the world was supposed to be in ruins, it didn't feel like it was in ruins. In fact, in my honest opinion, it didn't. It wasn't really in ruins. It was just pretty much a strewed, just to throw them off of what's really going on. And there's a lot of things going on, and that pretty much happens when a mysterious woman who crash landed on Earth, he able to save her, but wasn't able to save her crew. Because of the drones pretty much targeting them and shooting them. This was a very important piece to the movie, and that pretty much carried it to the second act. And in the second act, he finally gets captured, but he realized that the people he thought they were his enemies are really not his enemies at all. And after he started to, put the pieces together, he realized that he was fighting for the wrong person. And I gotta tell you, from that point on, I really got really interested in the story again, because it did a lot of changes that I really expected, including one of the big reveals that Jack himself, the Tom Cruise character, may not be who he thought he was, and that really brought quite a very interesting situation of who this species is and who's really pulling the strings and why. And that was the biggest thing I actually did enjoy about the film. It did a good job of flipping the script at the very moment that it need to flip the script. This what really kept me interested. This what kept me engaged in the story. Even where the climax, where they did it again, I thought that was well done. I thought it was very, very good. The disappointing I had was that I was actually hoping there was actually an alien species that I thought that it was actually really on the planet that Tom Cruise had to deal with. I thought that Morgan Freeman was pretty much one of those, like the ringleader. Turns out that was not the case at all. And this is where the disappointing part is, that the villain or the bad guy in the movie, the big reveal in the end of the movie, I'm like, this is the person who's calling the shots? Come on. Even Independence Day did a better job than that. I even have my complaints about how they dealt with the aliens throughout this film. But in this one, I really did like saying, really, that's it? That's the big boss, really. But to each his own. How the film ended, I must say I wasn't shocked, because if you've seen what has happened, what the character did, it only makes sense it ended the way it ended. Was I happy with the ending? I call it a satisfactory ending. It was something that I did expect it because of how that situation got resolved. But overall, as a sci-fi film, it's good. I actually enjoyed it. It was not terrible by all means. I can understand the disappointment in this movie by others. It definitely has a lot of predictability with this movie, especially during the beginning, because when I'm sitting down, I said, okay, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and this is going to happen. So there's no question that I was actually preparing to see these kind of stuff just being thrown out there, especially with the suppressed memories. Automatically, Total Recall, I was thinking about that, so they're going to do a Total Recall where this guy has suppressed memories, because, spoiler alert a little bit in case you guys haven't seen this film yet, He went through some kind of a program where they suppressed his memory, erased it. They did not want to remember, but that was not really the case. There was some other reason why they didn't want him to remember, and once he finally saw this person for the very first time, all the memories started rushing back. And like I said, predictability right from the first beginning of the film, but once the second act started coming in, that's when they started flipping the script a little bit. Okay, you thought you know what's going on. No, you really don't know what's going on. And I kind of liked that. I actually liked it. They actually did something that I said, oh, okay, well, I didn't expect. Let me see how else is going. And I actually enjoyed it. I actually stood engaged with the film. Like I said, it had a weak beginning. No question about it. The weak beginning where Tom Cruise literally had to carry the film. The pacing did help. I will say that because I was a little surprised how good the pacing was. It could have been better, but given the fact that it's just Tom Cruise, his assistant throughout the first hour, I pretty much said, okay, this is what's going to be. They got to do a little bit explaining. So be it. But other than that, during the first half, predictability. The second half, I thought they actually had done a better job, and to me, this is one of the reasons why I'm giving it 3 stars. The acting was pretty much solid, and for a sci-fi film, that to me it didn't really have too much expectations, other than the fact I wanted to see how Morgan Freeman and Tom Cruise interact with each other. I thought they did okay. I thought they did fine, especially with the little screen time they did have together. I thought they played it off very, very well. And that's what really mattered. I enjoyed myself with this film. I really did enjoy myself throughout this movie. So, yes, 3 stars. Granted, though, I will say this. If you're not a sci-fi fan, you're probably not going to like this movie. This movie, again, it does have some issues in terms of being unoriginal at the first half. I'm not going to lie about it. This was one of the things that got me scratching my head. You're going to be asking a lot of questions, especially with the way Earth looks. You're saying Earth is devastated, yet there's all this stuff of life. How is this possible that the radiation didn't take this life, or didn't take or is breathable still? From what you described, there's been a huge bomb that pretty much wiped out almost all life on Earth. That's why they was forced to leave. So there's gonna be a lot of questions on your mind when you see this film. But note, everything gets explained. They didn't leave any gaps open. They actually explain everything right straight down to that final act. So I actually did appreciate that. The only thing it didn't explain, I may say, if you want to be really technical and be going down to the last cranny of details in terms of continuity, is Jack character. And you pretty much would know automatic what I'm talking about once you see the film. Jack character is pretty much the only thing that I think that everybody's going to have a problem with because of how they presented this character. But other than that, I think they close up all the major plot points that they need to close up, and at the end, I thought they did a good job. Is it perfect? No, it's not. But as a good popcorn film, I enjoyed it. I really did. Again, it's not I don't put it as one of Tom Cruise's best films, but I definitely put it as one of his good films. A film that I don't mind watching again. And for a film that is a sci-fi in this magnitude, and God knows how many apocalyptic movies that's coming out in the next few years, and films in the past, it's a breath of fresh air to see that there were some that actually entertained me. Other than that, again, 3 stars. That's my opinion on this. Again, you can disagree or agree if you want. I'd like to hear your opinion on the matter. But until then, this is J77 saying take care, be safe. I'll talk to you soon.